strangers. Contrary to the advice given in basic sales training courses, never ask new clients for referrals until they are settled in with the product or service and you know they're satisfied. Big bone. Never, ever, ever neglect existing clients. They are the greatest source of add-on sales, testimonials, and referrals that you have. 2. Master the ability to deliver powerful presentations. It is a well-known fact that public speaking ranks higher than death in the list of top 10 fears. However, if you want to be a champion, you must master this skill. As with everything in life, the rewards for doing what other people can't or don't want to do are huge. I have lived and profited by this very fact. There is much more leverage in talking to 100 people than to one person, especially if you're introducing a product, service, or business opportunity. Today, in the education business I work in, 90% of my sales come directly from inquiries and leads generated from seminars and talks I've done. It is critical that you know how to do this well. Some sales dogs back off and claim, "Well, I'm not good at speaking to my groups." My answer to that is, learn how now. Speaking well is the most powerful sales tool you can have. If you ignore it, your income will suffer. Besides, if you are a true sales dog, once you learn the sales dog way of presenting, you will love it. That's a promise. The ability to communicate confidently in front of people not only enhances your own confidence, but presents you as a credible authority, a leader. You become the one everyone wants to talk to because you're the expert, you're the one with the answers. But to be an effective speaker, you must develop important speaking skills that will hold your audience. It is critical that you learn how to earn credibility quickly, easily, and indisputably if you are to make dynamic presentations. Sometimes a deep look into your past can uncover gems that will instill confidence and respect in the minds of all your attendees. These are experiences that tell the group that you know what you're talking about without boasting. Ask for responses rather than telling. A friend of mine said it well. Selling is not telling. Selling is the art of asking the right questions to generate interest, create the process of discovery, build rapport, and truly demonstrate your interest in the prospect. There is a particular art to doing this with a group. Believe it or not, the bigger the group, the easier it is. Acknowledge others. The key to a powerful presentation is obtaining active and passive participation on the part of the attendees. Once that is accomplished, you are in a working dialogue that leads to further discovery, rapport building, and interest. You must know how and when to acknowledge your audience and when to invite them to share their experiences in a way that raises the probability of sales. Without this interaction, the presentation is dull, boring, and very one-sided. Performed with skill and precision, it can put thousands of dollars in your pocket. Identify and confront silent issues. Good presenters should be able to sense the mood and energy of a room. If they sense skepticism, confusion, doubt, or any negative vibration, rather than glossing over it, they should address it immediately and directly. I get a sense that there's some doubt about what I'm saying. Who would care to say how they feel about the information I've just delivered? The energy of the room jumps up and the feeling of being disconnected from the group begins to subside. This is extremely valuable because you are addressing objections before they build up against you. Listen. In a presentation, it is important to focus and listen to what participants have to say all the way through. The natural tendency is to try to gauge the intent and nature of the question as fast as you can and be ready with a good answer. But the moment your mind begins to ponder an answer is the moment you stop listening. The most important part of any conversation is revealed at the end of a person's comments. So if you have checked out in intellectual land, you will miss the real selling signals. These critical elements of feedback are where the clues, hints, and insights are hidden. And it is these gems that will allow you to ask specific questions in order to address the client's needs. Listening well also develops a more trusting and respectful relationship, which will encourage a positive buying decision. Ask and solicit lots of questions. Whether you are presenting in front of a group or are in a one-to-one interview, you must continue to ask questions and encourage your audience to do the same. It is in this process that prospects' interest is developed, the relationship between the speaker and the participants is built, and a working dialogue begins. Once started in a presentation, it becomes easy to request an appointment or meeting because it becomes simply a natural continuation of your conversation. Turn features into what's specifically in it for me. WIIFM benefits. Every basic sales training course tells you that customers make their decision to buy based on the perceived benefit of your product or service. They will never buy features unless they are made relevant to their needs. Do not use your time in front of the audience to simply list features and techno-gadgetry. It's a deadly mistake to assume that anyone will bridge the mental gap between a feature and the benefit it provides him or her. That's your job. You have to tell them. This must be done with every claim, feature, and item that you speak about. This insurance policy has an increasing cash value. This is important to you because you can borrow from it tax-free in the future and thus reduce the money that you pay in taxes each year without reducing your actual income. We have developed a unique sales dog presentation program, both in live seminars and in a sales training kit, that aims at providing specific techniques and strategies based on the core strengths of each of the breeds. It will be the best investment that you will ever make in terms of catapulting your ability to make a sales presentation that will enroll, inspire, and motivate prospects to be wowed by your presence and to buy only from you. And remember, you don't have to fill Madison Square Garden first time up. Start small and hone your skill. 3. Tap the desire to serve others. The desire to please, to serve, and to protect is innate in every great canine companion. Great sales dogs will not be successful unless they learn to serve their prospects. Sales is about taking the time and care to discover what someone really needs, and then finding the solutions to that need. It is critical for all sales dogs to ask themselves whom they want to serve and why. You must be willing to jump through hoops, over logs, through rivers and streams in order to bring back your clients whatever it is they need, want, or desire. There have been times I lost sales in order to accommodate the true needs of the customer. I lost sales, but never lost those customers, and I made up those momentary losses with bigger sales later on, all because I was willing to serve their needs first. The definition of sales is not simply getting someone to buy. Sales is making someone's life better in some way. That is service. Sales manager bone. To inspire your sales dogs, you have to continually remind your pups of the service that they're providing to others. You can never overemphasize this. You must touch their hearts so that they will do the same with their prospects. That is where all meaningful decisions are made. 4. Manage the personal marketing versus selling formula. Probably the most valuable skill to learn is how to market yourself effectively so that you do not have to sell at all. If you want to work less and sell more, personal marketing will change your life. If you learn a few tricks of the poodle, you might discover how simple it is to get tremendous results. Earlier, I mentioned that the key to the referral process is that if it is done correctly, you will never have to speak to someone who does not already know you. That is called advanced marketing, and here is what it can mean for your sales. The more marketing you do, the less selling effort you have to deal with. If you currently spend equal time selling and marketing your product or service, and then decide to invest twice the amount of time marketing yourself, your product, or your service, then you will end up expending half the effort. The more quality effort you spend marketing, the less you have to physically sell. Prospects put up their hands and come looking for you. Sales effort is physical, time-consuming, fraught with objections, and requires great personal skills and time management. Marketing is leveraging your message to as many of your target prospects as possible without your physically having to do it yourself. Develop a set of marketing strategies, test them, and execute them, and the sales will come to you rather than you're chasing the sales. It doesn't matter how many sales calls you make. You will never get to as many people as a well-placed headline in a trade journal aimed at your target market. Nor will you ever be able to compete with a website that is receiving thousands of hits a day. If you are a wise sales dog, you should spend quality time on your marketing strategies. Basically, it's the art of having sales opportunities come to you. And perhaps even more important, it's the process of increasing the odds that leads will convert to sales. But you must learn how to market effectively. How do your prospects perceive you? Not only do you need to market your product or service, you need to market yourself. You want people to have a good perception of you. You want them to think, here is someone who is going to help me solve my problem. This is exactly why it is essential that a sales dog must spend a lot of his or her time marketing himself or herself. By using media that are seen by hundreds or thousands, you are in essence knocking on the door of everyone who sees them. In addition to other media, you can use other speakers, other businesses, other organizations, and any entity that is exposed to those who could be potential clients of yours to get your message out effectively. Start by making a list of potential avenues you can use to get the word out about you and your product. Spend time on developing those avenues, and sales will happen automatically. Second, be sure that whatever you send out for public exposure offers a compelling reason for someone to call you or show interest. It must be an offer for a reward to them if they contact you. It can be a special offer for service, a fantastic guarantee, an irresistible yet truthful claim, or simply a unique proposition. A simple example could be to advertise a free consultation service, or a limited time discount, or a special free report on competitive equipment if they call, fax, enroll, or inquire. Now keep it in mind that this is completely separate from the global marketing that your company is already doing for you. This is a much more personalized and direct marketing effort that will not only draw them to your product or service, but direct them to you. Marketing is simply getting your prospects excited and educated about you and your service before you ever make a sales call. Because their interest is piqued, you are that far ahead of the game. 5. Master the handling of objections or rejections. Certainly the biggest obstacle and the largest turnoff to becoming a salesperson is the rejection. Nobody likes it. We all want to be loved and accepted. Dogs also love to be loved and accepted, but they don't take it personally when you do not have the time to throw the frisbee with them. As a sales dog, you must learn to react the same way. The objection that a prospect gives you is not the problem. It is your emotional response to the objection that's the problem. Once you are able to remain emotionless in the face of the hardest critique, your brilliant mind will be able to handle those situations with ease. The problem is that rejection stimulates our most primal fears as human beings and causes deep emotional and mental disturbance. Classic rules of communication say that when you are in a heightened negative emotional state, your intelligence is low. Have you ever said something when you were upset and later wished you'd never said it at all? Have you ever been rendered speechless when someone got upset with you, only to come up with a snappy comeback hours later after you'd cooled off? That is what I mean. The skill of being cool and calm under fire is extremely easy to learn and rarely taught. It starts by erasing your own emotional responses through repetition. In the case of upset clients or prospects, you must learn how to identify the emotion behind their words. Once you do that, their objection begins to subside. Know also that behind every objection lies a benefit. For example, the objection might be, the kitchen in this house is too small. But the benefit is, we made the kitchen smaller in order to give more room to the living and entertainment area. This will keep people out of your kitchen when you're entertaining and in the other parts of the house. Another technique that's worked wonders for me and other sales dogs is the magic wand approach. When first interviewing a new prospect or when you receive too many objections, ask, if I were to wave a magic wand in this case, what is it that you would want? Or what is it that would work best? This basic query repeatedly creates new avenues of possibilities and opportunities. Bone. Don't take it personally. When a prospect says no, all he is saying is that he is not interested in your product at this time, or that he doesn't understand something. It is not a reflection on you. Managing sales dog emotions. Part of the difficulty that comes with dealing with passionate, high-performance people is that they are often run by their emotions. Sales dogs are under a great deal of pressure to perform. Management expectations, peer pressure, the genuine desire to win, and financial pressure will combine to form a very potent and emotionally charged environment that must be managed with skill and forethought. As a great sales dog, you have to know how to motivate yourself, especially when you just want to stop the world and get off. You have to know that there will be good days and bad days. It is critical to understand how to deal with the range of emotions that you or your sales dogs will go through. Emotional mastery is one of the most valuable and essential skills any great sales dog must learn. I have never seen a great sales dog, a great performer, a great team, or a successful individual who became great without pressure. It is only under pressure that inner resources can be tapped and the confidence and ability of the individual can flourish and expand. Pressure is the laser beam of excellence that will elevate you to a whole new level of possibility by building the neurological bridges from I might, I can, I must to I did. Never fear pressure. Greatness was rarely ever forged without it. Pressure is how nature evolves. It is how new structures are formed. It is how we grow as individuals, teams, and civilizations. It is not always something to be feared or avoided. It also does not always have to be painful if you understand how to work with it. No matter how beneficial the end result is, the reality of pressure in the moment can cause discomfort and stress if you do not know how to deal with it. If you are a mentor, director, manager, or sales dog yourself, you must find ways to release that pressure before it becomes harmful to either you or your team. As a sales dog, you have to first address the emotions in question before you engage in another activity, especially sales activity. In a profession where being upbeat and optimistic is critical for success, this despondent mood can prove catastrophic to your sales. You can't force someone or yourself to be happy and positive, but one of the great advantages of being human is that we do have control over our own emotions, and we can find unique and creative ways to positively affect the way we feel. When your emotions run low, pick a strategy that gets you into action that will set you up for small victories. Go and call on a good customer or user of your product or service. Talk to people who already love you and your service. You will find that your mood and energy will change quickly. Get physical. Go for a good long run or visit the gym. Go and sit on the beach and get connected to nature again. What about making a tape of all your favorite music? Lively motivational dance tracks that get you pumped up and feeling good. You'll be amazed how energized and empowered you feel afterward. When you are on a high, when everything seems to work, you are in the zone. This is when you find money in your pocket. People open doors for you and everyone loves hearing from you or learning about your product. This is the time to make even more calls. Take full advantage of this Midas phase and call anyone and everyone you can. You will be surprised at your effectiveness and the amount of sales you will amass during these times. Resist the temptation to kick back and rest on a win or two. You will lose the momentum, and it may be very difficult to get it back. If you have to continually restart your sales effort from a standing start, you will expend significantly more energy than if you just keep it going. Never allow it to stop. Keep moving and milk those highs for as long as you can. Bone for the managers. As a sales dog manager, it takes a great deal of finesse and skill to help your pooches enter a more healthy and resourceful frame of mind. With your sales dogs, you have to move quickly. Address the issue and then let it go. Don't let your anger or frustration linger, or you will just make matters worse, and you risk breaking their spirit and losing their loyalty. At the first sign of moodiness, pull your sales dogs aside and encourage them to let you know what is on their minds. Through their response, attempt to identify the actual emotion involved. You don't seem yourself today, Sarah. You seem depressed. You appear to be a bit more negative about things than usual. By doing this, you have acknowledged the emotion and will automatically raise their emotional state of mind. This is exactly what a counselor does when you go to a therapy session. The simple act of acknowledgement shows that you care and are aware there is a change in their behavior. After they've opened up, ask them some specific questions aimed at helping them arrive at a positive solution. What has been working for you lately, Sarah? What hasn't been working? If you can ask specific questions, it allows them to see that it isn't, in fact, always, just sometimes. Then, if you can isolate enough sometimes, you can change the behavior and avoid the frustration. This also acts as a kind of brainstorming session, and often solutions start to present themselves just through discussion and feedback. The energy then shifts to a more positive level, and suddenly things don't look so bleak, and action plans for success can be formulated. After listening carefully, Work with them to develop a plan for success. It's important to break the future victory into small, attainable steps so that they can work themselves back to the right frame of mind and take ownership of that process so that they realize they are making the difference, not you. It is important for you as a sales dog to quickly move to some plan of action that is fun, easy, and distracts you from your current dilemma. Once your positive mindset is returned, you are ready to take on the world once again. If it is a petty concern, let it go. But if you notice a trend of negative behavior, the worst thing to do is to ignore the emotion and try to brush it under the carpet or pretend it's not there and hope it'll go away. Emotion is a good thing. It reminds us we're still alive. It's what generates passion and excitement. As a dog trainer, managing energy is the key to successful sales. When energy levels are high, so are sales. This process can also be used effectively to shift the mood of a client, prospect, or customer. And the sales dog that is able to gradually and elegantly lift the energy level of a prospect will be a winning dog. It is critical to understand that you choose the emotion that you want to have right now. It is not just thought. Emotion is much stronger. It is generated through your focus. When you shift your focus, you shift your emotions. When you need to shift your focus and get your emotions to start working for you instead of against you, try this. This takes only about 1 to 2 minutes. 1. What is it about this situation that you really don't like? Talk about it. Be specific. Just saying, "this sucks," won't work. 2. Then focus on what you want. Talk about it. Stay focused on what you do want until you can see it, feel it, hear it, and maybe even smile about it. That is it. Hold that feeling as long as you can. Repeat the process as often as possible. Remember, you don't have to come up with an action plan to get what you want. Just stop focusing on what you don't want and concentrate on what you do want. I had to make a presentation to a very large client recently. The contract in question was for over $300,000. I was nervous and concerned because I felt that the client was not going to be interested in what I felt was in his best interest. I fretted and complained to my wife, my associates, and myself. I was angry and upset that the presentation was not going to go well. I was clear what I did not want. In this case, I chose to change my emotion and focus on what I did want. I wanted to have an open discussion with the client and not a formal presentation. As I envisioned this conversation and began to feel what this new relationship would feel and look like, I began to smile and chuckle inside. It would be wonderful. A day later, I made the presentation, changed the relationship with the client, and got rave reviews about our discussions. I have since embarked on a contract with him worth twice as much. Part of the thrill of success in sales is knowing that there will be highs. Remember to anchor those highs and link them closer together. When the lows come, and they will come, simply refocus on what you want. Employ the disciplines of action, any action, to pull yourself out of the lows as quickly as possible. This will shorten the duration of the lows and keep you roaring back. Bone. As sales dogs, most of us are motivated by money. We are inspired by the limitless potential of our earnings. But is it really the money, or is it what we want to buy with the money? When it comes to getting sales goals, focus on the numerical values only as a label. For real power and excitement, focus on what you will do with the money, and focus on those things until you smile. I guarantee your energy will climb. But it is important to remember that it never stays high and it never stays low. That is how nature works. What keeps them coming back? Untold secrets of handling objections and rejections. Big kahuna bone. Of all the things you can learn, the time you spend on the subject of handling rejections and objections is the most valuable. I can honestly tell you that if you train diligently in this subject, your life will change. Not only will your sales increase, but you will find that the quality of your relationships will skyrocket. Most people have no idea how much their internal subconscious fears and concerns affect their conversations, actions, and relationships with others, both at home and at work. Objections and rejections are the biggest obstacles for most sales dogs. All the sales strategies in the world are worthless if you're a sales dog who runs for cover the first or second time you're told to beat it. Think about it. It's important to learn and practice the management skills I discussed earlier in the program. Celebrating wins and reinterpreting adversity is very important. But here is the real secret, the magic and wondrous mojo behind the way all great sales dogs handle objection and rejection. They are used to it. The only way out of fearing rejection is through experiencing rejection. You must experience objection and rejection in order to understand it, and you must move through it so many times that it simply doesn't affect you anymore. It is a skill that, once mastered, will forever change your life in terms of your courage to take risks and to develop wonderful long-term relationships. Your ability to endure confrontation and disagreement will shatter the walls of fear, allowing you to go places others can only dream of. Please understand, this quality will not only make you rich in sales, but will give you the courage to live your life your way. Until you can learn to stand up and be counted for who and what you are, you will never live the life of your dreams. You will live the life of other people's dreams. I can't explain the personal integrity, self-assurance, and peace that will come to you when you know that no matter what someone says or does, you are okay just the way you are. So how do you learn this life-changing skill? Simple. Immerse yourself in it. Drill and repeat the most common objections and rejections over and over again. There are about 30 commonly heard objections and rejections. These global objections can paralyze and intimidate most salespeople. With practice and repetition, you can dilute their impact and easily dispel the emotional charge each one carries. They become what they truly are. No big deal. A sales training kit that can accelerate this process can be ordered at salesdogs.com. A key thing to learn from our canine friends is that no matter how many times you blow them off, no matter how many times you reject their attempts to nuzzle their noses into your lap for a friendly stroke, they never give up and they never take it personally. Bone. Sales dogs have found a way to test for and correct, if necessary, those tendencies before a sales call is ever made. See the aptitude test at salesdogs.com. Remember, above all, never, ever take objections and rejections personally. During a sales encounter, the blame must always be shifted elsewhere. I am not saying that you shouldn't take responsibility for your results. This doesn't mean you should be wasting time blaming outside forces and dreaming up conspiracy theories. I'm simply saying that being responsible does not mean beating your head against the wall. It means not allowing a negative sales event to fester into a negative generalization about your entire life. The thing to remember is salespeople are on the front line all day, every day in support of their companies. When a hand grenade tumbles into the foxhole, should you hold it in your hand and analyze why it's there? No. Get rid of it. Learn from the encounter so that you don't get another one thrown at you. But don't sit and look at it till it goes off in your face. You must draw from the experience and begin to develop winning formulas and patterns that will make you more successful in the future. I highly recommend that you take the objections from the Sales Dog Training Kit, go to salesdogs.com, and drill them over and over with your colleagues and friends and by yourself. It is not important in the beginning to answer them. Just hear them and say thank you until you can do it without the element of emotion. Then, start to develop rational and logical responses to the questions and objections. You will be amazed how many valid answers there are to the same questions. Once you have successfully learned the technique of remaining calm and thinking clearly, you can take your development a step further by asking questions to get more information and clarification. First, always acknowledge the objection with a thank you, and then restate the objection to show that you truly listened and have understood. Now, if I heard you correctly, I believe you're saying that the timing of this installation is super critical to the whole project. This shows that you understand your customer. If he agrees with your retelling of the objection, then ask some questions to further explore his concerns. Your goal is to have a clear understanding of the issues at hand. Your questions should be asking why he has particular problems in a way that shows empathy and genuine interest. Bone. Never try to trap or lead a prospect into agreement, especially after an objection. Remember, it's not a chess game. Guard dogs. Many pedigree sales dogs are sometimes intimidated by the ferocious guard dog. Ferocious and protective of their master's time and energy, these dogs are the ones in charge of screening their master's calls. The gatekeepers. The problem is most of these fiercely defensive and protective Rottweilers and Dobermans have heard every trick under the sun and are much too smart to fall for any of them. Wouldn't it just be easier to make friends? And never patronize the gatekeepers. Treat them as though they were the decision maker. If you do this well, you will have built an internal ally and referral. It is never a waste of time to build rapport, and it can often pay off later. Bone. I have learned in corporate sales to honor thy client's secretary. Remember their names and their needs, and remember to thank them whenever you can. They can be your biggest ally or your biggest nightmare. The hunt. The dog do simple sales dog cycle. Whether you are a retriever, pit bull, poodle, chihuahua, basset hound, or combination of a few of these petulant pooches, every dog must follow the same formula for sales success. The variation lies only in the style and approach of the execution of that formula. In all my years in sales, and in all my years in working with great salespeople, I have found that the sales process is fundamentally very simple. I have given you the critical mindsets and shortcut techniques to raise your effectiveness and find the pot of gold you seek. If your mind is right, the rest will follow. There is nothing sophisticated about direct sales. It all comes down to three basic parts: prospects, appointments, either telephone or face-to-face, making arrangements, closing. Gaining prospects. This is just a game, a simple and fun game. It is not a measure of your self-worth or intelligence. A dog with a ball will hit on every person in the park until someone agrees to throw it for him or her. He knows that eventually some kind soul out there will throw it, that it's not a matter of if, but when. As a sales dog, you have to have the same attitude. Major bone. Sales is a pure energy business. When two people come together in a sales situation, the person with the highest energy wins. To qualify or not to qualify, that is the question. There has been a lot said about whether you should spend time qualifying your leads. I don't believe you should worry about qualifying prospects in the beginning for 4 reasons. 1. Sales is an energy business. What you expend comes back. So just getting out there and speaking to people is valuable from an energy generation point of view. 2. You could be wrong. You might think Prospect X has no obvious use for your product, but you don't know that for sure, and you don't know what he or she knows. It may be that he or she has a friend who is just desperate for your exact product and can't find it anywhere. You would never know that. 3. It will assist you in becoming desensitized to rejection, and you get to practice your objections on a relatively unimportant prospect. 4. The time you waste trying to learn if someone is interested or not could be more effectively used by just asking him or her. Your motto needs to be yes. Say yes to everything. Yes, you will go to the party. Yes, you will call someone's friend. Yes, you will volunteer to help a colleague or friend. All you want to do is get in contact with anyone who might have the remotest interest. You don't care if they like you, hate you, have money or no money. Just get in front of them. Leads are everywhere. A phone call, a friend of a friend, a random calling to a page in the phone book, a phone barrage, it doesn't matter. Step 1. You should never be talking to anybody who does not know who you are. Certainly you should never talk to anyone who doesn't know who you are until you've talked to everyone who does. You should be seeing people who were referred to you or who have answered your marketing materials. Remember that all marketing materials, mail, fax, advertisements, or web pages, must include an offer that compels a person to respond and ask for more information. It could be a line on your home page that offers a free report for signing up. How about an offer in a sales letter that offers a free consultation valued at $250 if taken advantage of by the end of the month? Use your imagination. Gaining prospects is the art of gaining interest through connections. There is always somebody who knows somebody. Look in annual reports, trade journals, business directories, news articles, and periodicals for names to send inquiries to. Prospects can be bought on lists from other companies and from sources who see the benefits of your product or opportunity for their customers. I've often paid a royalty to others for the use of their databases if any of their customers result in a sale. Talk to past users, customers, friends, and ask anyone and everyone for a lead. That will start the ball rolling. It's a simple process. Get a source or multiple sources of leads, send them offers, and see who puts up their hands for more info. There are your prospects. The rest should all be by referral. Step 2. Make initial contact in whatever way you're most comfortable. Each breed leans toward a particular method of communication. The pit bull likes the phone and has little patience for anything else. The retriever and the basset prefer an introductory letter because it's less confrontational and less imposing. The chihuahua likes the speed and technology of email, and the poodle prefers face-to-face because he can dazzle with his presence. But if it's not possible, then a well-produced brochure and well-crafted sales letter is the order of the day. It's all about image and first impression. After the initial contact, call prospects, thank them for their time, assure them you won't take up much of their time, and either 1. Introduce yourself and your product or service, or 2. Ask if they received the introductory communication you sent and whether they have any questions, or 3. Offer to provide more information, clarification, or specifics regarding the product or service. Remember to always be polite and enthusiastic, and don't talk too much. Ask them when a good time to meet with them would be, and set an appointment. If they don't have a time in mind, suggest one, or several. Your goal in this phone call is simply to get an appointment to meet with them. If your sales are done over the telephone, then ask if this would be an appropriate time or if another time would be more suitable, and set that up. Always try to get prospects to give you permission to contact them again within a specific period of time, thereby getting permission to keep the lines of communication open between you. After the initial telephone call, construct a simple, very short, one-paragraph letter thanking prospects for taking the time to speak with you and telling them that you are looking forward to meeting with them at the specified time and place. Tell them to feel free to call you anytime they have any questions, but most of all, sincerely thank them for their interest and their time. You should make a habit of sending thank you notes after every interaction. Step 3. If you haven't done so already, do your market research now. Learn everything you can about prospects, their business, their industry, or how they received the information originally. Being equipped with information will give you confidence and show prospects that you take them seriously and have taken time to find out their needs. Prepare a list of questions that you would like to ask the prospect in advance and rehearse them if you've never done this before. It is also very important to know to whom you're talking. Most salespeople forget this, and it can be fatal. If you talk to the prospect in your terms and from your perspective, you could very easily never truly connect with each other and wonder why. Each prospect is also a breed who has particular calling cards that you should know and look out for. Once you recognize the breed, communicate in the prospect style, so you're both speaking the same language. If the prospect is a pit bull, he may be controlling, abrupt, and bottom-line oriented, so make your comments quick and to the point. Proposals should be brief, and you should relate things in terms of immediate bottom-line benefits to him. Don't beat around the bush. Ask for his opinions about next steps. Highlight key events to take place. Go light on the detail. If your prospect is a chihuahua, he is detail and research oriented, so you should provide all of the backup material, including facts and figures. Accuracy is critical for chihuahuas, so triple check everything. No typos. Require good and solid proof. Make a detailed proposal. Provide testimonials from credible sources. Speak clearly and back everything up with facts. He will want to see a plan. However, if your prospect is a poodle, he is image conscious, socially adept, loves to talk, knows the market trends. Be sure to personally connect. Use referrals and list benefits to him in terms of image. Is there someone else he has to answer to? Being first on the block may be important, seen as an innovator. Compliment him on things he's done and ask his opinions. Now, your retriever is service conscious and friendly, so focus on after-sales support. Follow-through is critical. Be friendly, connect personally, ask about him personally. Talk in terms of long-term futures and that work begins after the sale. Offer to do whatever you can for him. Ask for referrals. He will want to see a plan. The Basset Hound is very one-to-one, value-oriented, and seeks a personal connection. Ask for his needs and stress loyalty, service, credibility, and value. Spend time with him. Be on his side. Sympathize with his situation. Practice humility. While prospects are talking, it is important to begin to watch them physically, mentally, and emotionally. Model their body language subtly. In other words, if their arms are crossed, cross your arms. If their legs are crossed, cross your legs. If they're leaning forward, lean forward with them. This is done simply in order for you to subconsciously begin to build rapport with the person you're talking to. If they talk quickly with lots of hand movements, they're probably very visual. Therefore, when you speak to them, you should speak in terms of pictures, visions, painting a picture for them. Ask them if they can see what you're talking about. If they talk in slow, soothing tones and seem to think before they speak, they are probably very kinesthetic, feeling-oriented. To these people, you must speak slowly in soothing tones. Talk to them in terms of how the project feels. Ask them if they can get a sense of what you're talking about. Ask them to trust their feelings or intuition about which way they feel they should go. These indicators will help communicate more clearly to this type of person what it is you're trying to say. There is a third category of prospect, which is what we call auditory. These prospects seem to talk in a sing-song fashion. The deal would have to sound good to them. With these people, you want to use words like listen, hear, ring. Sound good to you? The reason for these actions is that they will build a subconscious rapport between you and the person to whom you're talking. As a matter of fact, if you're only speaking to him on the phone, it is probably good to have the conversation while standing up and walking around, preferably with a headset. This gives more energy to what you have to say, and the chances are that the other person will feel that energy as well. It allows you to think more clearly, and also to be able to speak in visual or kinesthetic terms, even though you may not have direct eye contact with the person you're talking to. You might even consider putting a mirror up at your desk so you can look at yourself periodically in any given phone conversation. If your facial expression is contorted and tense, I can guarantee you that will also be the energy you're conveying across the telephone. Final word on gaining prospects. At the prospect stage, the important thing is action and energy. The higher the energy, the greater the results. Use the mindset techniques discussed earlier to keep your energy high at all times. It's a funny thing. Once you start to follow up, you get so busy following up that it creates an energy field of its own. All of a sudden, people will start seeking you out to ask questions, calling you, wanting to know what you know, wanting to talk to you, wanting to toss the ball with you. Appointments. Once you've whipped up the energy surrounding your prospects, appointments or permission to call again are sure to follow. This is a critical step in establishing a relationship with them. Here are the steps to follow to ensure that your appointments ultimately lead to sales. Step 4. On the day of the appointment or scheduled phone call, be sure that you're prepared in the following way. Be well-groomed and well-dressed. Even if all your sales are done on the phone, if you look good, you feel good, and that comes across in your communication. Being dressed professionally shifts your mind into success mode, and you will lift your game. Do whatever is necessary to set your emotions and thoughts in the right place. In other words, choose the emotion you want before the appointment. Be excited, be enthusiastic, and be happy. If you do this, the outcome of your appointment will reflect that mindset. Be on time and arrive at your destination at least 5 minutes before the meeting time. If the appointment was set over a week previously, call in advance to confirm the appointment before you get in your car. This shows courtesy and good planning. Remember that if you've agreed to call back on a specific date, make sure you call. Do what you say you will do when you said you would do it. It is very important to keep your agreements. If anything does change, inform the other person as soon as possible. Step 5. As you walk into the appointment or make that telephone call, remember to focus on what you want to happen as an outcome to the meeting. Before the meeting, attempt to remember a similar positive experience from your past where everything went really well. Anchor that positive moment by reliving the moment in your head, and allowing yourself to feel that emotion. As you meet the prospect face-to-face for the first time, be sure to smile and offer your hand in handshake, if that's customary in your region. Then, wait to be directed to a seat by the prospect before sitting. If you're making a telephone call, it is even more important that you smile, as this will come across in your communication. Design a conversation solely to find out as much as you can about the prospect, about what they do, why they do it, why they like it, what their ideals are, and what their frustrations and problems are. Do not try to sell even if they ask. You cannot pitch till you fill the bucket with the bits and pieces of data about them. Ask the questions and listen to the answers. You should also physically show prospects that you are listening intently. This will let them know that you're truly interested and totally into what they're thinking. As they speak, be careful not to interrupt, no matter how excited you get about something they just said. Listen all the way through. You may be excited about something, but remember, all the prospect wants is to tell you what's on his mind. He is not interested in what you have to say until he's finished what he has to say. So keep quiet and listen. Continue to ask open questions, ones that can't be answered with a one-word answer, such as why, when, how many. The second level of questions that you should ask should be questions regarding the prospects themselves, their business, the nature of their needs, and what they specifically want, if they've not already told you. Learn as much as you possibly can. If this is a network marketing sale, find out what their specific tangible goals are, their opinion about how to implement or make use of the product or service, and their emotional expectation. This is important, because when you begin to give them answers, you must deliver on all of these criteria. If prospects simply want you to tell them about your product or service or opportunity, and insist that you go first, you should politely agree to do that after a couple of very quick questions. It is important to be sure that you are able to listen first for several reasons. It gives you time to relax. It allows you to understand the important things about the prospect, their energy, their emotions, their needs, their expectations, their body language, and many other things as well. Step 6. The only outcome of this first contact should be to set up another time to present a proposal, a draft solution, or a process by which customers can reach the goals that they mentioned to you. If you can do this in the first conversation, that's great. However, do not be frustrated if you don't close the deal on the first call. Remember, this is about building a relationship. Your goal is actually twofold in this first encounter. The first goal, as I mentioned, is to create an opportunity or another appointment or another time to come back with more detailed answers to their questions. Your second goal is to make an agreement with them for no other purpose than to simply prove that you can keep an agreement. Of course, you don't tell prospects this. You make a simple agreement such as, I will call you the day after tomorrow to let you know about my progress, or I will send some brochures, more testimonials, or referrals your way within the next 48 hours. Even if prospects do not want these things, it is important for you to create an opportunity to make an agreement and to keep it. This begins to set a track record, to establish subconsciously in their minds that you are dependable and that you do what you say. For each subsequent conversation that you have with prospects, there is only one goal. At the very least, ensure you have another agreement so that you can fulfill it at some time in the very near future. By doing this, you plant a subconscious message of trustworthiness and care in their minds. You establish a track record of trust, so later, when it comes time to decide between you and someone else, they remember that you are a sales dog who does what he says he'll do. Subsequent appointments are designed to present more materials, give and present proposals, make arrangements, and sign orders. Step 7. You give them whatever they want. It is what I call the magic wand approach. If I could wave a magic wand to create the ideal solution, provide the ideal service, the best policy, the perfect house, what would it be? I listen, ask a few more specific questions, and prepare to deliver. I will go to the ends of the planet to find that ball for them, no matter where it's thrown. I will keep them apprised of the search, of the creation, of the trials and tribulations along the way. Remember reasons to stay in contact, and somehow find a way to solve the problems they have. For most reasonable requests, there is a solution, and a great sales dog can find it. A friend of mine was searching for an investment advisor and a new accountant. He interviewed many quality prospects but was never satisfied. He was at a party and happened to explain his plight to a young fellow who happened to be an accountant. Wisely, he asked my friend the question, "If I could wave a magic wand, what is it that you really want in terms of investment strategies?" After a moment, he answered, "Well, I'd like to be able to invest on a tax-deferred basis and ultimately withdraw the money at some future date tax-free." The young fellow chuckled and said, "Wouldn't everyone like that?" He then quickly added that he was not sure what could be done, but asked my friend if he would be willing to meet with him, an insurance colleague, a portfolio manager, and a tax attorney in his office sometime the following week. My friend was ecstatic. I don't know if he got his entire wish, but when I asked him, he simply gave me a big grin and said, "I have a team that handles it." In that case, a wise accountant who was unafraid to sniff out solutions that he didn't have in his own bag of tricks obtained a lifelong customer for himself and several associates. Making arrangements. Closing. Step 8. Whether in the initial call or a subsequent call, there will come a time when it is your turn to deliver information. After you've asked the questions and feel fairly comfortable with who the person is and feel that the relationship has begun to build a bit, begin to answer his questions in terms of how your product or service or opportunity will solve his problems physically, mentally, and emotionally. Notice his reaction. Notice his body language responses to the things that you say. Do not make the mistake of going on and on when the body language of the prospect clearly tells you that he is not interested or that he doesn't agree. If the prospect begins to do other work while you're talking, that is not a good sign. You must stop at that point and check in with the prospect. Ask the customer or prospect any question that will elicit a response so that you can know how you're doing. Don't keep digging a hole if you're not sure if this call is going properly. Be flexible. Change course or direction in a moment's notice if you need to. Do not be silly putty, but do follow the lead of the prospect. When it is time, begin to ask him his views of how this product, service, or opportunity will be implemented. When is it time to do this? It is time whenever you have a sense that the prospect understands, agrees, or is in line with what you're talking to him about. If you have handled most of his major objections, and if you've provided satisfactory answers to the questions that he's offered, and if there seem to be no more issues on the table, that is the time to begin to ask those questions. I call this part of the process making arrangements. You should eliminate the word closing from your sales vocabulary. Nobody likes to be closed in, and many salespeople are afraid of closing. Just take the perspective that you're going to begin making arrangements for installation, implementation, delivery, or enrollment. First, ask how he sees it, or has a sense of it. Once the prospect begins to think in those terms, it becomes simply a matter of asking when, where, and how. When would you like to take delivery? How quickly would you like to begin? How soon would you like to begin to take advantage of this opportunity? Along the way, and probably before this arrangement stage, there will undoubtedly be questions and possible objections. Remember to drill objections in advance, as fast as you can, as many as you can, and as often as you can. The reason for this is so that objections become simply part of the conversation and not some traumatic emotional experience. Answer all objections and questions as clearly and as briefly as you can. Never try to manipulate prospects. They will sense it, and like a trapped animal, will fight to be released. Sales is about making friends and relationships. It is not about winning the battle of wits. This cycle could be 1 appointment, or it could be 6. Use your judgment about when the energy is beginning to dwindle. Attempt to end the conversation before the energy gets too low. You want to begin with medium energy and end with high energy. Leave on an expectation of more and better information, which you will provide. In each conversation, always ask them making arrangements questions, subtly at first, and in more detail later, as most objections and questions have been answered. Most prospects who are genuinely interested will be very clear about the arrangements they want to make with you. Some, however, will not be interested. That's okay. Don't take it personally. Do you buy everything you see in a store all the time? Of course not. You may not have what this person really has in mind. That's okay. Feel free to admit it as soon as you perceive that you do not have the proper solution for this customer. That will build tremendous credibility. If you have to bow out of the deal and you've done so honorably, then feel free to ask the prospect, based on what you've told him so far, if you would happen to know of anyone else who might be interested in this product, service, or opportunity. Ask him for the name and number and whether he'd be willing to give this new prospect a call in advance to tell him you'll be calling on him. There are others who get cold feet. Everything has been answered and the prospect really does want the product or service but can't seem to make a decision. This can be very frustrating for a salesperson who's put in a lot of work and energy up to this point. Be careful. Do not get impatient. If you try to pull the trigger too fast here, you could blow the whole thing. If you are faced with this dilemma, you might try this. Instead of asking the arrangement questions again, simply tell the prospect when, where, or how you will deliver. Notice his response. He may simply agree and go along with you, and then the deal is done. If he still hesitates, you can be a little bit pit bullish. A response that's worked for me has been a statement like, "Okay, it's up to you. Let me know what you want me to do to make this happen for you. I'm happy to do whatever you'd like me to do at this point. Is there one thing that needs to take place before we can begin this process?" Remember, if you've been a good retriever up till now, making arrangements will not be difficult. Ask the prospect if he can envision himself in the future with this product, service, or opportunity, what it would be like. Once he talks about it, then you can simply ask if it's okay to get started now. I would love to say that going through this cycle one time will guarantee you sales. That is not true. The steps can be a repetitive loop in which you continue to cycle with the customer. Selling is like dancing. The difference in sales is that the music never really stops. You can always come back and dance with that same partner again later if you need to. Be sure to always tell prospects about the services and support that you will be providing for them after the sale. Tell them that the sale is the beginning, not the end. Once the sale is made, the real work begins in terms of support, installation, application, and success. Never be afraid to ask, "How soon can we begin?" If you ask the same way every time, the customer will feel pressured, so ask in several different ways and at several different times. Remember that there is a point in time when the buyer considers the sale to be consummated. There will be a moment of euphoria in his mind, a time when he is proud of his innovative decision, or a time when he can actually visualize the benefits of what he is buying. That is the time to strike with the perfect question. Do you know anyone else who might be interested? This could be sometime before signing an order or days or weeks after the deal is done, but almost never when the prospect is actually signing or concluding the sale. Regardless of what appears to be his frame of mind, there is always a point of fear, of indecision and possible second-guessing that happens at the moment of sale. Don't jam his space. Do not ask this question until he is in that settled and proud state of mind, or you could give him buyer's remorse. Time that question properly, though, and he will absolutely give you names. You will be on a roll, and you will never have to call anyone unannounced again. So what kind of sales dog are you anyway? Are you the tenacious pit bull who needs only the slightest provocation to jump into the chase? Are you the more sophisticated poodle who understands the critical importance of the first impression, personal marketing, and forming relationships with the right people? Are you the retriever who never hustles the prospect, but nuzzles him and serves him at every opportunity until you become the supplier of choice? Or are you the naturally inquisitive chihuahua who loves nothing more than becoming the recognized expert on each and every product in your range? Do you want to be seen as the font of all knowledge? Are you the basset hound who pushes on at your own pace, stays on the scent, and establishes credibility and personal rapport over time? Or perhaps you're a high-rolling big dog who lives for that one big showdown for the big bucks. Or maybe you fantasize about becoming a big dog. Most likely, you have recognized a number of characteristics and traits from perhaps a couple of the breeds. You are the ultimate super mutt, the most potent and effective pooch in the pound. Perhaps you are a crossbreed mix of several, or on any given day you may exhibit a bit of each. I hope that this program has brought you to a better understanding of yourself and your strengths. I hope that it's brought you to a place of relative peace where you accept who you are for what you are and stop beating yourself up for all the things that perhaps you are not. One of the myths of sales is that we all have to be perfect, well-rounded droids in order to be successful. That we all have to be aggressive and ferocious attack dogs to make it big. I hope those myths have been blown. The truth is, you just have to know your strengths, play to them, and avoid or compensate for your weaknesses. Learn other traits from some of the other sales dogs and become the ultimate super mutt. I have seen many great sales dogs throughout my life and throughout the world. They are extremely diverse, and each is phenomenally successful in his or her own unique way. I know that if the breeds are left to run where they feel the most comfortable and happiest, they will create incredible results and will continue to thrive and achieve. But even the most exceptional pooch will underperform if you put him in the wrong place. Of the other myths we uncovered at the start of this program, I hope you can see the value of the sales dog mindset, even if you don't work in the field. The truth is, we all sell or negotiate all the time. Not everyone is a practicing sales dog. However, even to know your own characteristics for everyday communication is vital for success in all you do. We as human beings assume that people are always like us. For example, if you're a manager, you may be reluctant to delegate a particular job because you think it's an awful job. The fact is, what is awful for you may be someone else's cup of tea. So being able to recognize the breed of people around you is valuable for much more than just sales. What kind of pooch are you married to? What about your friends? How about your boss? Knowing the behavior and characteristics of those around you will help you to communicate more effectively and live more harmoniously together. You can be who you are and be as successful as you want to be, as long as you are true to yourself, understand your instinctive talents and strengths, and learn to control your mind and your emotions. I believe there are few more challenging professions than those which offer you the opportunity to influence, convince, or sell to others. Brilliant salespeople are everywhere. Some are on the front line and some are still somewhat dormant. They are the great change agents, movers, and shakers of society. As a sales dog, you must sometimes face rejection, disappointment, and disillusionment. You also experience the highs of life, the excitement, the passion, and the thrill of success. It is a life that is rarely in balance, yet offers the chance to be the best that you can be every moment. Dogs never give up. They are enthusiastic and optimistic to the end. That is why the sales dog was born. We all have the ability to face our own fears. We all have the ability to sell. We all have the ability to achieve our greatest wishes. We all have the spirit for the chase and the ability to be optimistic about our chances. Whether it is your sales staff, your employees, your partners, or your children, they all love to win. Your job is to bring out the best in yourself so that you can in turn bring out the best in them and give them a taste of winning. It is already there. If it's spontaneously exciting for you to do this, you will graduate to pack leader and inspire a cast of many. You will touch the lives of thousands of people whom you will never even meet. Their lives and their businesses will be better because of your effort. Also, remember that every dog has its day. Sooner or later that day will come and success will prevail. Be sure to leverage it and build on it, celebrate it, and enjoy it. Last word of advice. As the debate rages on, are great salespeople made or born? I ask you to decide for yourself. Only you can make that decision. We have extraordinary potential to be whatever we dream to be. And it is my genuine wish that this program has, if nothing else, opened that window of possibility in your mind so that you can see that simple truth. They say that a dog is a man's best friend. As you take your own journey into, out of, or around the world of sales, remember the most important rule of all. When the going gets tough, and it will get tough, remember to be your own best friend. Treat yourself well. You deserve it.
Good Hunting paperback from Warner Books. To listen to samples, read more about the authors, learn about digital audio, and buy digital audio books, please visit Time Warner Audio Books websites at www.twbookmark.com and www.mytimewarneraudio.com.